University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. Hello and welcome. My name is David Stouffer and I get to be the recruitment coordinator for the UMSL College of Education. Each week on this podcast, we will meet an innovator in the field of education. We will spend some time getting to know them and learning about their work and how it can help you and yours. It is my sincere hope that this podcast will be a source of encouragement and support as you work to continue impacting lives as an educator. My guest today is Jonathan Lidgus. Jonathan is the director of the UMSL Succeed program and has served in that capacity since 2017. Succeed is a post-secondary program for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Program participants can earn a Chancellor's certificate by completing the 2-year residential or commuter program. Jonathan has extensive experience with the Succeed program as he was part of the planning team that was instrumental in bringing Succeed to UMSL. Jonathan joined UMSL in 2002 as a graduate student in the Office of Student Life and was brought on full-time in 2005. In 2007, Jonathan joined the Office of Residential Life, where he became the director. He received an MED in counseling from UMSL in 2005 and is currently working towards a doctorate in education. Welcome, Jonathan, to the UMSL College of Education podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
It's great. I've been a fan of the Succeed program for some time now. I get to see all the kids almost daily over in the College of Ed, and I see you guys working with them and the great things you do. So I'm excited to learn more. I'm excited to share with our listeners a little bit about the program and about your work here at UMSL. So thank you for being here.
No problem.
Let's talk first of all about Succeed. You were instrumental in bringing it to UMSL and starting it, and now you're the director of UMSL Succeed. Tell us, what is UMSL Succeed? I imagine there's some listening that have never heard of it before and would like to learn more. Tell us about the Succeed program.
Yeah, sure. And this is great timing for this podcast because we are actually in 2023 celebrating our 10-year anniversary of the program. So it's a really exciting time for us. So Succeed started 10 years ago. It is a program for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I'm going to take us on a little bit of a journey for a second. In 2008, Congress passed the Higher Education Opportunity Act. And what that did was unlock a lot of opportunities for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So those range from students with Down syndrome, with traumatic brain injury. So you want to think of it as a large group of individuals who traditionally would not have the opportunity to go to college. And the Higher Education Opportunity Act really laid the groundwork for this population to do that. So that in that time period, in 2010, they created a seed-funded grant. That grant created around 23 different programs, very similar to Succeed, called TIPSID programs that really modeled what these programs should be like across the United States. Then we, as a university, decided that we were going to investigate with our community partners, St. Louis ARC, and the developmental disability boards of St. Charles County, St. Louis County, and St. Louis City, really think through developing a program here at UMSL. So I was, at the time, the director of housing here. I started here a very long time ago, very long time ago. So I started out as a grad student in 2005, actually 2003. 2003 is when I started my grad program here in counseling. I worked in primarily student affairs. So I worked with campus life, student involvement, and then I moved into housing. So I was approached by individuals from the St. Louis Arc. I was approached by Dr. Register here in the College of Education, and then some faculty in the College of Arts and Sciences. And they approached me and they said, Jonathan, we want to start a program. It wasn't called Succeed at the time. And we want to house the students with intellectual and developmental disabilities on campus. And I immediately said no. My job, as the director of housing, was to say no to just basically everything. So that's what I did. And then that was the end of it. I effectively killed the program. So a year later, they got grant money from the disability boards. And they said, we're going to take you on a trip. We're going to visit one of these programs and you can see what it's like. So I was like, okay, we'll go on a trip. So myself, some of our campus partners, Dr. Register, went to a university in Missouri who had one of these programs, spent the day with the program. I spent the day with their housing staff. And I met the students, visited classes, saw everything. I realized at that time that everything that I was nervous about, everything that was a concern wasn't really actually a concern. That everything that this program that I was visiting was dealing with in their housing program is nothing I haven't seen before. So like roommate conflicts and stuff like that. So I walked out of that visit day saying that we could not only do this program, but I think we could do it better than most.
So that's interesting. You say all that because it almost sounds like you had the same knee-jerk reaction towards students with disabilities that most people that don't understand students with disabilities have. They came to you and asked if you could house the students. Your initial reaction was no way.
Right. Liability, everything.
Until you got a chance to see it in action, and then it became clear how great this could possibly be.
Absolutely. And I realized it's not only would be great for those students, but it would be great for our students, the traditional UMSL students on campus, seeing and living with that diverse population. And and it really kind of went pretty quickly after that. After I said yes, we met. I really started as part of that development team with Dr. Register and the rest of the group, and we launched. And we launched with about 15 students that first year.
And what year was that?
That was 2003.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it was an amazing experience. So I, as the director of housing, was part of this team the whole time. And then the director of the program opened up and I made a career change, like a drastic career change. I never had I never had a background in working with individuals with disabilities, but this program has not only changed my career completely, but I also enrolled in a PhD program where I'm about to finish it, researching intellectual, So it's really been a life-changing experience for me and for the university. So 10 years on, we have made a significant impact that way. But with the Succeed program, what's great is our students, so we grew from that group of 15, we support over 73 students now in 3 different programs. So we've grown significantly.
Well, that's just an amazing personal journey you had. And I'm hearing this really for the first time. I've known you for a couple of years, but I'm hearing your journey for the first time. And that's incredible that you started out as a graduate student. You went into student housing. A lot of people would be surprised that we have a director of student housing in UMSL, but we really do have a thriving student housing organization that could be a subject of another podcast. And then you went from there to saying no to Succeed and then embracing Succeed, and now you're the director of Succeed.
Yeah,
that's quite a journey.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And where we've seen growth and where we've been recognized nationally has been awesome. to kind of get back to I know I went on kind of a journey there to kind of get to your question of what Succeed is. Succeed is a 2-year certificate program. So students are enrolled at the university and have to complete 48 hours in 4 semesters. And in those 4 semesters, after that, they get a Chancellor certificate. They graduate with the College of Education, and students are able to take courses anywhere on campus that they meet the prerequisite for. So that's great. And then they take a series of life skills courses that our program teaches. So that ranges from healthy relationships to independent living, budgeting. So a lot of those skills that you need to be an independent living adult, because we have 4 outcome pillars in Succeed: live, learn, work, and play. So that's independent living, that's academic achievement, work is gainful employment, and play is community connection. So like, what is it like? And you know, a lot of my staff really talk about that seems like some type of Nike, like really easy thing. And it's kind of, but it really is what being an adult is. You live, learn, work, and you play. So, and what does that look like for everybody in there? And programs like ours were designed to bridge the gap of individuals who graduate high school with intellectual and developmental disabilities who wouldn't be able to go to college, but so then they're relegated to underemployment. So the unemployment rate for individuals with IDD or intellectual and developmental disabilities is always pretty consistent at 70%.
Wow.
Programs like ours, like our last check of our full-time employment rate, it was full-time employment rate for our graduates was 60%.
Fantastic.
So we kind of flipped that on its edge there. And we support students. They're able to they're UMSL students. So they're able to take advantage of every extracurricular activity. So we've had students in fraternities and sororities. We have students who have been the homecoming king. We have had students, athletes. And then we have students that live inclusively on campus. Something that we're known for nationally as the Succeed program is our inclusive campus housing. So how we do that. And that's clearly because I was the director of housing. That's where my interest was.
Sure.
But we're really kind of, that's what other programs come to us to kind of look through. So Succeed is that 2-year certificate, and we continue to grow every year that way.
So how does that work within the student housing piece? Are they residents in the dorm just like any other student?
Yep.
Is there any special accommodations for the kids in those dorms? How does it typically work?
Yeah, so students live inclusively on campus with all the other traditional UMSL students. So an example would be Oak Hall, which is where our students live, where the majority of our students live, our first and second year students, is 4-bedroom suites. So our students would live in a cohort model in that building. So they live, 2 of our students in the Succeed program would live with 2 traditional UMSL students in that suite. So everybody has their own bedroom and they share a bathroom. And that's really for multiple reasons. One, there's a lot of support within a cohort model living. So students are holding each other accountable for going to class, doing homework,
Sure.
but also building those social relationship bonds to be successful and practice those social skills. And traditionally in Oak Hall, the predominant majors that live there are nursing, education, and social work.
Okay.
So, I mean, these helping majors are also
Sure.
living with them. When we started years ago, we had special RAs, okay, or Succeed RAs, and we've actually moved away from that because our students are using the support that any other student would use, and we just, as the Succeed program, provide additional training to the housing staff. So, like, that's what we view our role as on campus, the Succeed staff. Support for faculty, staff, the student, and then the students' families, which are a huge part of the journey with us.
That's amazing. So the 48 hours of college credit that they receive, I think I heard you say, is a mixture of traditional classes and specific classes geared towards the Succeed students. And then they get the Chancellor certificate.
Yep.
And they participate in graduation like with everyone else.
Yep.
And move on from there. That's wonderful. Do most of these kids wind up going back home with their families after they finish, or are they living independently? How does that work?
Yeah, actually, when you look back at our data, it's very similar to a traditional college student who leaves campus. And for anybody who has a college student that has graduated,
yes,
traditionally they move home
right back home.
move right back home. But we also do have a lot of students that choose to move into an apartment with friends, or they rent a house with friends. So it's literally like identical to that data. Mm-hmm. So it's really awesome. I have a really fun story where there was an expectation that our students in the Succeed program, none of them would move home. There was an administrator that none of them should move home. You're like, they're not learning any. And I kind of burst out laughing. I was like, the majority of our traditional students move home. Yeah, yep. And like it's a economic thing,
right?
It's a growth thing. Mm-hmm. So we have some students right now, which we're trying to do in the program, move them earlier into our apartments on campus to really kind of gain those skills too, like apartment safety, cooking, and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah, I have two kids. One graduated from college and spent about a year at home before he moved out. Now my daughter graduates in May, and she's informed us that she's going to live at home for a year, just like her brother did, and then she'll move out. So it's almost like a rite of passage.
Yeah, it really is now.
Clearly, the Succeed program has grown and evolved quite a bit over the last 20 years now. Mm-hmm. Where do you see the Succeed program going in the future? Do you envision any changes or any new exciting opportunities for the kids in the program?
Yeah. So, about 2 years ago, with a team of researchers at the College of Ed, we received a federal grant. And that grant makes us, as the Succeed program, a model demonstration program for programs across the United States. So this kind of goes right into your question. Our goal of that grant is to not only grow our program, but grow programs like ours across the United States. Mm-hmm. So right now, when we started Succeed, there was about 120 programs like ours. Okay. Now there's over 300.
Wow.
But you're like, wow, that's awesome. But if you really do the math on that, it's 6% of the total campuses in the United States.
Yeah, that's true.
So getting into one of our programs is as stressful as getting into an Ivy League school.
Wow.
So we constantly have a wait list. If I could, I would admit everybody that applies. But I just can't do that. So, and our programs are expensive. College is expensive. Mm-hmm. So kind of looking through that with this grant, our goal is to expand those, but also expand Succeed. So what we've done over the past couple of years has been really awesome. So our program now has different pathways. So you think of it as the first 2 years to Succeed, that Chancellor certificate is very much like your gen eds. Then students have a choice to either we kind of help them find gainful employment after they graduate, or they can come back. And they can come back for something called Succeed Plus. And we just launched that this year. And Succeed Plus connects students to, you'll like this, industry recognized credentials. So these are the credentials that students can get in different vocational areas that it's different than a bachelor's degree, but it gives them the skills necessary to work a very specific job for higher paying wages. Wow. So an example would be launch code or Google certificates. We have a lot of students who are interested in childcare. So there's a lot of childcare certificates our students are taking. And that helps them be certified and go in not as entry level, but experienced workers that way. And then, so that's one pathway. Another pathway is Link. And Link is for students who want to go on to their bachelor's degree. So we support about 18 students right now that either completed Succeed or got into UMSL and just wanted additional support, and those are traditional students who have had IEPs for executive functioning concerns or autism, and we support them in their success. And we're about to have our first graduate there.
Fantastic.
This year, and we're really proud of that program. And one of the things with Link that's really what's really neat is we're still supporting students in live, learn, work, and play, but we're really supporting academic advisors. We're supporting the instructors. We're doing additional work with the student to help them become more independent. But they're college students, and or they're bachelor's degree students, and it's really great.
Fantastic. You said somewhere in the 70s range of current Succeed students at UMSL?
Yes, that's the three programs together.
For all three, yeah. That was what I was going to ask. So Succeed plus, Succeed plus, and Link.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Where do you see, I guess my question is there any kind of interconnectivity with all of the different Succeed-like programs in the universities around so that they could work together and build off each other?
I'm so glad you asked that question because we actually are part of something called MIPSA, or the Midwest Inclusive Post-Secondary Alliance.
Okay.
Which, by the way, myself and Dr. Register started.
Uh-huh.
So it's us and a series of Midwestern states all have programs, and we get together to discuss best practices, legislation, best like curriculum. So we do all of that connection there. Now in Missouri, there are 3 programs, and a 4th is starting very soon, which we're helping to kind of guide that program moving forward. And within Missouri, within the Midwest, we're really kind of a strong area that way. And we have a larger network that we're involved in a larger grant called Think College. So if you are a family member of somebody that has a disability that's looking for a college, Think College is your first stop to look at. It's a good network of what's out there and what choices you have.
So it sounds like you and Dr. Register are impacting a lot more than just the students here at UMSL. There's some things going on all around the area, all around Missouri, around the Midwest. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. We have an awesome team of not just faculty but staff doing that.
What's in store for you? Is Dr.
Yes,
Jonathan Lidgus going to be the regional director of the Midwest Succeed Program University Consortium?
Yeah, we are really close to finishing that doctorate. It's been a long time. Let's just say that. And somebody's going to start yelling at me. I think Dr. Rich is going to yell at me soon if I don't finish that. But once that's done, one of the things that really excites me is teaching others professionally to work in inclusive higher education. So I see a lot more teaching in my future, a lot more research in my future, and then going out nationally and internationally helping this. Because, this all started with that Higher Education Opportunity Grant. So, the United States has something pretty awesome here for individuals with disabilities. I think we can really help a lot across nationally what we can do there.
Well, and the fact that your percentage of gainfully employed students in Succeed is probably better than most colleges of the traditional students speaks very, very clearly that the program is being very successful. Jonathan, thank you for the work you do. Thank you for the incredible impact you're having. And it's so exciting to finally be able to sit down and chat with you about the great work you're doing here with UMSL Succeed.
Thank you for having me.
I am honored that you chose to join me today for the University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. I hope you'll join me next time. Till then, I'm David Stouffer. Thank you for the work you do. Never forget, you are making a difference every day.